Hello guys, how are you doing? Today is the first session. I decided to make these videos with the hope that if you don't have a teacher, you can follow my courses and learn guitar even if you don't have a teacher. Uh, these courses will go on and I give you exercises which will build up your knowledge about playing electric guitar. And in this session I will talk a little bit about an introduction about guitars and what you need for a start, and then I will give you the first exercise for the playing guitar. This exercise is very important. It's about muting the noises after playing a guitar, because as you know, maybe no, electric guitars, they have sustain, and if you play one note, if you don't mute it like this, it will stay for a long time. And it's one of the main differences with acoustic guitar. And if you have learned acoustic guitar and you want to play electric guitar, even this can be a issue. I will talk about it more in this session, and I will give you exercise to overcome this problem. With this method which I teach you, you will see a very fast progress in first months, even in first months. But you need to pay attention that you need a lot of exercise, a lot of time on each exercise, and you do at least 30 minutes exercise per day, at least. And at least 3 days. If you play 30 minutes per day, so I think 3 days, at least 3 days for each exercise would be enough. And the other things I want to mention is that it's better if you play with a amplifier and you increase the gain, because if you increase the gain to the most, so you will hear the unwanted noises if you mute them well or not. So it can help you progress faster if you exercise with high gain. And in this video we will go on muting the noises, and then finger style and picking styles, which picking style I recommend you, and holding guitar. Also I will talk about palm mutes. It is very popular in metal music also. And uh, and also in this session we'll talk about these things. And this course is based on experiences of years. I hope that this helps you, and you can learn very fast with this method. So let's get started this session. So electric guitar, you need an electric guitar at first, and it doesn't matter which kind of that you have. It's just uh, you need one of them and one cable to connect electric guitar and amplifier, and one pick, nothing more. You don't need pedals or something at first. I should mention that there are something else you can use called effect, or this tiny portable kind of amplifier. At first you need one guitar and one cable and one of the amps and one pick. There are different picks with different thicknesses and different shapes for different purposes, and as you can see there are many kind of them. But at the beginning it doesn't matter which kind you use. You can check them at the store, guitar store, and pick the one which you are more comfortable with. There are some thin one, they are for playing like strumming patterns, but there are some thicker one, which are good for solos. This one, for example, some of them they are like this shape, and they are very good for playing riffs and metal riffs. So at first, I suggest buying one of them. Doesn't matter. Main thing is that you feel comfortable with it. So, for the start, you need also tune your guitar with this adjust the guitar with this, and your guitar should be tuned before you play each time. And for that purpose, you can use the apps. There are free apps on the store, on Google Play or App Store. One of them which I use personally is Fender Tune. And it works really well. You don't need to buy a tuner. And that's all. So let's get into playing guitar, electric guitar. And the first thing I want to tell you is the angle of holding the guitar. And I prefer to do it like this, with an angle, not like this, to play guitar like this, because I use this style for acoustic guitar. But for electric guitar, if you use this style, you are able to play faster, especially in playing the solos. It's really better. I will tell you why. Because as you can see, you hold the pick like this, and easily you hold it. You put the pick on your index finger and you hold it with your thumb, and it shouldn't be so inside, not so outside, not so inside. That something normal. And you hold the pick, and you hold a pick like this. An angle of picking is in this direction, yeah. And you hit the strings with your pick. And if you want to play faster and in solos, so it's better to have a 45 to 30 degree between angle with the strings, so that you can it doesn't stuck between the strings, the pick, and picking will be so much faster if the angle you have. But you can also give the angle to it with this, but you need to a little bit turn your hand, and for the beginning it's not so easy. I was talking about the direction of picking. So your hand, your wrist should be in one line, and you play in this direction, and you put your right hand on the bridge. As I told you, if you play one note, for example, this string, I muted, I turned the volume off. So if I play, it will stay for a long time until you put your hand or your left hand on the string. So otherwise it will have the sustain for a long time until you mute it. So because of this, in electric guitar you need to put your hand, your palm, on the strings, and between bridge and last pickup here. So if it's muted, you cannot play anything. They are muted. If I don't mute it, it will. And this is the key to playing clean and good, and not with noise, with a lot of noises. And I give you the exercise in this session. Actually the second exercise in this session. And in this exercise I will teach you about muting the strings with right and left hand, both hands. And someone may ask, if you mute all the strings, how can you play? So I didn't talk about playing guitar. I'm now talking about a style of holding the guitar, the base of playing guitar before you play. If you want to play one note, you open your hand and you play. And then if you don't want it anymore, you mute it again. Or with the left hand also, I will talk with you about it. And other thing I wanted to tell you is that the finger names, yeah. If you see in the sources, you can name them Pimax, Pimax. Also, P is this one, the thumb, which is not used a lot in the playing guitar. Sometimes it's used like this in rock guitar, rock playing, but normally it's not used. But it's Pimax. In some sources, it's also called finger 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. For now, I will start. I will start a palm mute, the first exercise. It's one of the important notes, which is played especially in metal, and it's nothing more than one playing muted, so not so hard muted, but a little muted all the string. You need to mute all the strings, and you play the lowest string, also high, the lowest string, which is 6th string, the thickest one. And it's palm mute because it's muted. Palm mute is name, and you need to do it a lot. This palm mute, you need to train it. You know why? Because normally you play other notes, for example, and then you play something, and then you play something, and then you need palm mute. You play here, and then, so because of this, you need to find it very fast where to put your hand for this palm mute, and this needs exercise. You need to train it where you put your hands, that it sounds good. This is not too much muted, and it's not so open. If it's open, it's sound like this. If you mute it too much, it will be not so good. But if you mute it not so much, not so as it's enough, it will sound good. It's like half muted, and you play this lowest string, the thickest string, I mean, yeah, which is called also the lowest string and highest string, because this is the highest frequency and lowest frequency. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is that these 3 lowest strings, they are thickest and they are lowest string, and they can be played muted, these 3, but the 3 highest string, they cannot be played muted. They don't sound good. If you say that they don't sound good in muted, but the thickest strings, they sound good in the muted even. So they are sometimes, most of the time, also played muted, these 3 thickest string, but the 3 highest strings, they are not played muted. Uh, I want to talk about alternate picking also. Alternate picking is called when you play. I told you palm mute is just playing downwards, yeah? You don't play in this direction from downside to up, just play downside. But alternate picking is playing down and up, down and up. This is called alternate picking. So down and up, down and up. It makes it faster playing in solos. It's really important, and you should after you did the exercise of palm muting, you can do this exercise until you get uh, good at alternate picking also. Then you can do it on the other string. After you did this exercise, so for 2 days, 3 days, every day at least 30 minutes. After you did this, we get to the point which we learn the muting. Muting is done, as I told you, with the palm, with the here, this, and you tilt your hand as you wish to mute the next strings. So if I want to play the first three string, this thickest string, so I don't care if they are muted, so I can play them muted. But the three other one, three highest string, which are thinner, they shouldn't be played muted. So if I want to play them, I open my hand. So if I want to play this string, the thinnest string, I open a little bit my hand and I play it. And then okay, we can mute it again. So if the second one, I can mute it. Third one, yeah. So you need to get comfortable with muting with your right hand. You need to tilt your hand so that the next strings are muted. So if you want to mute the third string, you tilt your hand. You should get comfortable with this and know how much you need to tilt your hand until the next string is muted. For this reason, to get comfortable with it, I give you an exercise which is really good for this purpose. And I want before that I want to talk about the muting with left hand also. So when we go from this direction, also from the thickest to the thinnest strings, or we can say from lowest to the highest string. So we do it with our the right hand. So but when we go from the other side backward and from thinnest to higher to the thickest string, we do it with the left hand. How we do it? So I tell you about this in exercise. So this exercise is called warm up. I call it warm up in this so that it's used also in next sessions. If I say warm up in this, you know what I mean. So it is. I played once, and I will talk about it in the following. So. As you see, it's from the sixth string, sixth string, the ninth fret, 10, 11, 12. Then we tilt a little bit more. The same for the fifth string, fourth string, and here we go to the third string, which is very important in muting. So the hand should be open a little bit because we want to play it. We need to a little bit open our hand to play it, but you shouldn't actually open your hand so much. You need to get comfortable with this exercise, to how much you need to open your hand to be able to play for example, the third string, second string, or first string. So we are in the third string, so the same pattern, and then when you are finished, you tilt your hand a little bit so that this is muted. So we go to the second string, then finished, then a little bit muted, finished, then muted all. Okay, so when we go from the sixth string to the first string, and then we're going to come back the backward, and then we play that 12, 11, 10, 9, and then when we go to the next string, then we mute the last string. Actually, with our pinky here, it can be depends on the song, but because it's dependent on the pattern which we are playing. But in this case, with next note, as you see, when the pinky goes to the next string, it mutes the last string also. How it's done? It's a little bit tricky. So if you play acoustic guitar before, so you know that you should put your fingers with like 90 degree, like this, on the guitar, on the fretboard. But in electric guitar, sometimes you need to do it a little bit tilt your hand, tilt your finger, so that it mutes the previous string. Yeah. So for example, in this case, with tilting our the pinky, we mute the last note on the last string. Again. You see? So do this exercise until you don't play noisy and you play clean, without noises, and because you are able to mute the unwanted noises, and that's very important. That's one of the fundamental things which you need to learn at first. Otherwise, if you just play with noise, it wouldn't be, doesn't sound good, and you should learn this in the beginning. And this is an easy exercise, and that's really good because you can concentrate on the playing it good without noise. You at first you need to play it with lower metronome, like 50, 60, or even 40. It doesn't matter how fast you play, but you need to play without noise. And you need to open your gain, as I told you, to the fullest, so that you can hear the maximum noise. And that way, in that case, you play clean and good and without unwanted noises, so you are playing really good. and you can be sure that it's really high quality playing. uh, and if you go so for example this exercise at least 3 days or more, even 7 days, after these days you need to be able to play it like with metronome, maybe 100 or 90, and you play it clean without noise. So this was for today, and if you have question, comment it below and have fun.